And a very pleasant good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Tornado Talk, where we talk all things Brevard College tornado athletics. Really excited about this evening's show. And with us this evening, a special guest co-host, Scott Douglas. Scott, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me. This is an amazing opportunity. I'm so glad to be finally on Tornado Talk. It's been a long time.
Yeah, looking forward to having you co-host the show. You're going to take us through a lot of the soccer news and notes around Brevard College. We've got several special guests lined up as well. But as we get started on this evening's edition, let's first thank our sponsors of Brevard College Tornado Athletics: Arby's, BSN Sports, eGolf Ford of Brevard, Hampton Inn, Ingles, Jets Pizza, Party Sports Medicine, Pepsi, Sully Steamers, Triangle Stop, and Young Transportation. Really appreciate their support of Brevard College Tornado Athletics. Also want to recognize Party Sports Medicine and Southeastern Sports Medicine Orthopedics for being the official healthcare provider for Brevard College Tornado Athletics. Well, want to take you around the news and notes here around the land of the Tornadoes. Volleyball had their big Tornado Classic this past weekend. They'll be back at home this Thursday, 6 p.m., USA South Conference opener versus Pfeiffer. Then a quad match on Saturday. William Peace, Meredith, Southern Virginia all visit the Tornadoes this Saturday. Cycling, a big successful weekend once again for the mountain bike team in Columbia, Kentucky. Mountain bikes will be in Banner Elk, North Carolina. If you're up that way, check out the Tornadoes. They'll be in action this weekend. Cross country, another successful weekend for them as well. They were in Berea, Kentucky this past weekend. And then football, some breaking news. Special teams player of the week, James Wood, the defensive back from Lincoln, North Carolina. He blocked and returned a punt for a touchdown, which was worthy of special teams player of the week honors. Football will be back in action versus Greensboro, 2 p.m. on October the 1st at Islamel Family Field. And then homecoming, mark your calendar, Saturday, October 8th versus Methodist. We'll talk football later in the show. Men's soccer, some breaking news. USA South Men's Soccer Player of the Week, Ryan Lynch. Congratulations to Ryan. We'll be talking to his coach, El Dana, later in the show, along with Mario Pinto, the assistant coach of men's soccer, and also Ryan himself is a scheduled guest on this program. 3 straight wins for the men's soccer team, and those included last week, since we saw you last, a 3-2 win over Warren Wilson, a 1-0 win over Center, and then, alas, the home opener for the men's soccer team after several matches on the road this Wednesday, 5 p.m. versus Berea at Islamel Family Field. Women's soccer has been in action as well, and they've had a great start to their season. We're going to talk a lot of women's soccer in just a moment here. A win this past week over Carlo, who made the trip down from Pittsburgh, 2-0. Then up now, we're in a stretch of 5 straight road games for the Tornadoes, and it won't be until October the 4th when the Tornadoes face off against Greensboro. And with that, and I'm going to hand over the reins in just a moment here to Scott Douglas, but would like to welcome into the show head coach of the Brevard College women's soccer program, Juan Mascaro Sr., also associate head coach Juan Mascaro Jr. Welcome, coaches. And Scott, I'm going to hand it over to you, buddy.
Yeah, thank you. So welcome, coaches. Good to have you back. It's been probably 3 weeks since you was last here. And I heard you both talk about how excited you were to get the season started. So where is the excitement level right now after 6 games passing?
Thank you, Scotty, and thanks for having us today on the show. I think our excitement level is always, every day brings a different level of excitement when you have a 10-week season. But I think we're in a pretty good place as a team. Our record is 4-2, which is a pretty good start. I think the team is coming together, and we're ready for. We have a stretch here of about a 2-week, which is going to be a pretty interesting weeks.
And JJ, how is your excitement going?
Like Coach said, we've had a really good start, and so that by itself is just really exciting. And really, we just want to keep the positive results going. And every time we get to go out on the field and work with this group of players that we have is it's a joy and a privilege. So yeah, still definitely really excited for this run of road games that we have coming up. So that'll be a little bit of a challenge with the travel, but we're up for it. So I can't wait to play on Wednesday.
Juan Mascaro Senior. So as I mentioned, you've played 6 games already. Have your expectations been met from preseason?
I think my expectations have been met at probably, Scotty, I would say 70%, maybe 75%. I think that we have been able to put together, very good minutes of soccer. We've been able to, and that's probably, I would say probably about 50%. Then I think about 25% we've been average. And the other 25%, I think there's a lot of room for improvement. So, in like any sport, but especially the college game is a little bit different than the professional ranks and all that, where you have, 10 months to build a season. Here you have 10 weeks to build your season. So you got to click pretty quickly, and you got to sort things out pretty quickly, which is difficult. It's difficult to do when you bring new players in, and then you have to adjust to a different pace of game and some of those things. But I think overall, I'm pretty pleased. But I would like us to be a little more consistent as a team. Find a level of consistency that is going to bring us results. I'd rather have a 7.5 player than a 10 or a 2. So it's not. You want that level of consistency that that every time you step in the pitch, as a team, we're going to be doing this. And I think we're there at times. I'd say 50% of the time we're there. The other 50% there was room for improvement. So we're working on that. But the time for working on it is running out. We have one more game, and then we start conference play. And I was talking to the team today. We had a little team meeting, and it is amazing. But between now and the end of the season, we have 2.5 days between games. So there's not a whole lot of room. It's more recovery and more just getting them to rest and recover and get ready for the next game versus going really hard at it. So at this point, I think we have hopefully we have the idea in place, and we just have to execute.
And JJ, he mentioned minutes on the field. And I remember in the last time he was here, you spoke about the depth of the squad. And these are some of the stats that I noticed. 19 players were fielded against Carlo, 20 against Allen, 23 against Warren Wilson. So could you touch on the quality and depth a bit more, and how you've seen everybody be able to come into the field and still give you guys everything that you need from the team?
Yeah, I think our depth and the size of our bench is definitely a competitive advantage that we have other teams, especially because the quality is consistent. So when we make changes and we rotate personnel, the quality stays the same. So especially in the second half, with teams start to wear out, especially teams with a smaller bench, that's when we really, we really use our depth to our advantage, because they're tired and we can bring in fresh legs for 20 minutes in the second half. And then, they're even more tired, and then we can rotate the personnel again and bring in another set of fresh legs. And so, for us, it's a weapon that we can utilize. It gives our game another dimension, if you will. And so, so far we've been able to use it to our advantage. And so it's been one of those positive things that we can add to our arsenal. So it's been really, really good to have the personnel and the performance still be consistent and the levels stay the same.
And you mentioned Arsenal, which is my team. Over the weekend, Arsenal got a clean sheet. And the Tornadoes, the women's side, have had 4 clean sheets out of 6. And I know you still work with the goalkeeper. So what is that like for you to kind of see that your defensive line is strong as well as the goalkeepers?
Yeah, I mean, we have 2 really good goalkeepers. And so they've done a really good job. It's their first time playing college soccer for both of them. So they've really done a good job, kind of just been thrown in the deep end. And they have 2 really experienced center backs right in front of them. So that helps a lot. So as a defensive unit, I think we're very hard to break down. which is another thing that we have going on for us. And Rebecca does most of our goalkeeper training, and I've hopped in here and there where I can. And, they have those two, Mackenzie and Nico have a lot of potential that, we're just trying to nurture and bring out. So, they're doing a great job for us, and I'm really excited to see, how they develop in the next 3 years.
And Juan Mascaro Sr., we've just spoken about the defensive side, and now if we go on to the attacking side, 12 goals in under 2 weeks. How exciting was that for you to kind of see the Tornadoes being able to put loads of balls into the back of the net?
It is exciting, Scotty. It's something that you work towards that, because at the end of the day, the game is about scoring goals. You play whatever style you want to play, but at the end of the day, it's about scoring goals. And I think that we've put ourselves in a position that we give ourselves a chance to score goals, and I think we have the personnel up top that can finish. That has been for us something in the past that it's always been a little bit of a challenge, is the finishing part. But I think Gracie's doing a great job. Abby's doing a great job. So now we have the personnel to finish them, and the whole team. But it's a team effort. It's one person that puts it in the back of the net, but it's a team effort just to get us there and create the chances and create the opportunities.
Very nice. And so we've got 2 games this week. And how are you both feeling about this quickly?
We'll take one game at a time. So we'll talk about Wednesday. Wednesday we got Tacoma Falls on their field as a grass field. We're excited about them. I think we have a good chance. We gotta do well there, and then once we pass that game, we can start thinking about Saturday, which is our first conference game. And when you get into conference, you're playing for gold. So it's every game has a little bit of a different meaning. When you get into conference play, so we gotta make sure we have all our ducks in a row and all our strategies in place, and focus on now it's conference play. Now we got to go and play for gold. So I feel good the way we're going, and I think we'll be in good shape.
Very good. Coach Juan Mascaro, head coach of the Brevard College women's soccer program. Juan Mascaro Jr., associate head coach. Scott Douglas, our co-host this evening. Nicely done, Scotty. Coaches, stick around just a moment or two longer for us, because we're going to invite in some of your student athletes into the program, and we'll welcome in Abby Mayer, the junior forward from Roxborough, North Carolina, is here. Also, Mackenzie Lozano, the freshman goalkeeper from St. Petersburg, Florida. And also Nicole Arroyo, the freshman from Yulee, Florida. So we have 2 goalkeepers, and we have a USA South Women's Soccer Player of the Week here with us as well. Before we let you go, coaches, first, we'll start with Juan Mascaro Jr. Would you like to help us introduce the 2 goalkeepers?
Yeah, so here we've got Mackenzie and Nico. They're our goalkeeping extraordinaires. And like I said before, I think they've done a really good job coming in as first-year students, and they got really thrown into the deep end. They're playing games right away. We've been rotating them a game apiece. And they're eager to learn. They're willing to do what it takes to get better. And we're really happy that they're part of the Tornadoes family. And like I said, we're excited to see how they develop in the next couple of years.
Very good. And Juan Mascaro Sr., we'll let you give us the final word this evening. Please help us introduce all 3 of these outstanding student athletes.
Oh, great student athletes. I think Mackenzie and Nico, they have a young energy. They're working hard, and they are awesome to be around. Abby is a little more experienced, so she knows the game very well. She knows the college game, so she's been a joy to have around, and very experienced, and she knows how to score goals. So that's pretty important. And then the other 2 know how to stop them, so that's pretty important too. So that's always a good thing.
Very good. Well, we really appreciate you both joining the program this evening. Best of luck this weekend. A couple of road matches coming up this week. And we'll see you at Ives Limo Family Field before we know it. We'll let you go. Juan Mascaro Sr., Juan Mascaro Jr., thanks for joining the program.
Thank you for having us. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Phil. Take care.
All right, Scotty, before I turn it back over to you, I do want to let our viewers and listeners know the following. This is an interactive program. We encourage you to leave a message in the comment box, whether you're watching on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. Go ahead, leave those messages, and we will incorporate them into the program. Already, I see Channing Barker getting after it on the YouTube chat. So we encourage our viewers to use that chat function, and we'd love to invite you into the show, with your comments. So with that, Scott, I'll hand it back over to you. And women's soccer, keep it going.
Yes. So I have actually been privileged to be able to call pretty much all of your games that's taken place here at Asdamel Family Field. And I'm now a senior here at Brevard College. So this is all your first years here at Brevard. So tell me, each one of you, tell me a little bit about things you like about Brevard and how your first few months have gone. We'll start with you, Adine.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely have obviously had a good time. This team is just fun to be around, and I don't know, it's definitely a different experience from coming from another school, like being a transfer. It's different from, coming in as a freshman, like I was at NGU, and like being a part of something, like them knowing I'm coming in and coming in as a junior transfers. It was a little bit of an adjustment, but these girls are great. Like they're just fun to be around. They're accepting. It's been awesome. So good time so far.
Should I go next? Okay. Even from like the beginning, like with the fitness test, it's just like everyone's support. Like it's just been amazing. The community, coaches, everything. And it's such a great learning experience for me, especially for my first year. So I'm having a lot of fun so far.
I would definitely say we all clicked really fast, especially from that first night at midnight, starting our fitness training. And all of us just supporting each other. It was definitely a big change from high school to coming here, but it was a good change. It was like very supportive going into it.
And as you mentioned, the change between going from high school to college soccer. So for Mackenzie and Nicole, what has it been like for you guys to have two such an experienced back line in front of you in every game?
It helps a lot. Wait, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, definitely helps a lot. They're really good with the communication. Help me, like, say I mess up, they would tell me in such like a nice, positive way to keep my head up. And yeah,
They never really let us drop down, no matter what. They just kept like supporting us and telling us that like we can keep going, we got it.
And Abby Mayer, I mentioned to Coach Mascaro that the Tornadoes have scored 12 goals, in under 2 weeks. And you have actually contributed to 7 of those goals. What has that been like for you in your first year here at Brevard? And before the conference has even kicked off, you are hitting the back of the net very often.
It's cool to play with a team that trusts me the way this team does. Obviously, like I said, coming in, being a transfer, and then being with a group of girls that they've been with the whole time they've been here, and them like immediately trusting me and like playing those through balls into me, playing my feet, trusting me with the ball. It's been really cool. And obviously, like stats look good, but 90% of the goals are, one-touch finishes that I get a great ball from Michaela or Maddie or Grace, So a lot of them are tremendous through balls, tremendous passes. So it's just a really good team experience, and just happen to be the one finishing it. So
now back to Mackenzie and Nicole. You guys both playing the same position. You're both in goal, and that can be the loneliest position to play on the field. And you two are the only ones that are doing it at this level as a freshman. So what is it like for you two both, knowing that you kind of are competition, but at the same time you guys are working together? What is that like for you both?
Okay. Oh wait, are you going? Okay, because honestly, I could talk about Kenzie all day. Like, we have such a healthy relationship, even though like competitiveness, like it doesn't have to be like, oh, like I'm better than whatever. Like it's such a healthy relationship. And I don't know, like just supporting off the sideline too, like halftime, like we're always communicating with each other, and even trainings as well. Like I have a lot of fun with Kenzie, and I could see us growing these next 4 years. So
It's definitely a fun, healthy competition that we have going on for each other.
And Abby, as you mentioned before, having Michaela around you, having Maddie Edwards that comes in, you have Jessica behind you, you have Alyssa Hetherington, you have so many talented players around you. And what is it like being able to play with them, that quality of players?
Oh, was that for me? Yeah, so it's definitely, like I said, like trusting each other. We're still building relationships, excuse me, and still figuring it out. But yeah, like Coach even said, like the depth on our offense is ridiculous. Like starting three and the sub three. There's not at all a drop of play, and all the midfielders are starting. Like we're starting to really figure out like the chemistry between us and the midfielders, even us and the center backs. Yeah, it's really coming together. I'm sorry, I'm nervous. But yeah, we're definitely connecting. We're figuring it out. So it's been fun.
And how are you all feeling with your next game coming up very soon? Sadly, I will be missing that one. I'm devastated. But you got a game coming up soon, and then you got the start of the conference this weekend. So we'll start with Nicole, and then we'll go to Mackenzie, and then go to Abby. So let me know your excitement levels for this week.
well, very excited, and me and Kenzie, we play every other game. So next game Kenzie will be playing, but Saturday opening up, very exciting. Kind of nervous, but like the good nervous, But yeah.
Definitely excited to be playing on this Wednesday, being able to get back on the field after being able to sit bench for Nico's game. But very excited for Nico as a home opener for conference games.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not switching around with them, so I can't really tag along to that. But yeah, I'm definitely excited to get conference started. Wednesday's going to be fun. Final test to get our chemistry together. We, like Coach said, we had a team meeting today and kind of went over things that we need to experience and get through on Wednesday. Try together, and then Saturday is really everything counts. So I'm definitely pumped to get conference play started, and I think we're really coming together. I think Carlo really came together. I think that was probably one of our best games as a team. So yeah, I'm hoping that chemistry keeps going, and it'll be fun. It'll be a good season.
And finally, in the same order that we just went in, is there anybody, you guys have a lot of fans in the comment section, I'm not sure if you're seeing it, but is there anybody else that you would like to give a shout out to?
As in players or like family?
Anybody.
Mom, Dad, Izzy, Hannah, everybody. Like, honestly, I'm just going to shout out the whole team because they're literally my support system, and I would not be playing the way I am if it wasn't for them. So
I want to give a big shout out to my family and my stepdad for putting me in this position. I wouldn't be here without them. But definitely my family and my whole teammates, especially Hannah, go cheerleader.
Yeah, I'll third that. Definitely a big shout out to the team and the coaches trusting us, putting us in a position to succeed. And also, I don't know if he's watching, but Noah, our trainer, he stretches me before every game, and I don't know how to be able to play without him. He keeps me going. So shout out to Noah.
I forgot to shout out the coaches too. Revs, Juan, JJ, and Sally too. Been missing Sally, but shout out to them.
Very good. Very nicely done for these three making their debut on Tornado Talk this evening. Really well done. Scott, great job once again as well. Nicole Arroyo, the freshman from Yulee, Florida, goalkeeper. Mackenzie Lozano, the freshman goalkeeper from St. Petersburg, Florida, and the junior forward from Roxborough, North Carolina, Abby Mayer. Thanks for joining Tornado Talk this evening. Great job, ladies.
Thank you guys for having
Thank
us.
you.
Having us.
Yeah.
All right. And there they go. And Scott, hey, some great stuff there from the women's soccer side of things. Before I let you go, some final thoughts on women's soccer before we move on to our next guest.
Yeah, women's soccer. I followed that more this season because of my schedule. I followed that more this season than I have the men's soccer. And previous 2 years, it's been the opposite. So it's been really good to see this team gel together and see them grow. And it's very exciting to call their games almost on a weekly basis. And I just can't wait for their next game here at Isomel Family Field because they have a good crowd that show out and make a lot of noise.
Very good. Well, Scott, I'm going to let you go, but we're going to bring you back to the program in just a little bit, 20 minutes or so, 20, 30 minutes or so. We'll have you back on here for the men's soccer portion as well. Great job, Scott. We'll see you a little later in the program.
Thank you.
All right, there he goes. And very quickly, we're going to transition now and welcome in to the program head football coach Bill Khayat. Always great to have Coach Khayat on the show. Coach Khayat, thanks for joining the program.
I appreciate you having me, Phil.
Well, Coach, a road trip to Danville, Virginia, closing out this non-conference start to the season. Didn't go the way the Tornadoes wanted, a 23-6 defeat. Before we move on to what's next, can you recap for folks who might not have had a chance to tune into that one, the matchup at Danville, Virginia?
Well, yeah, we now have wrapped up our out-of-conference play with a 0-3 record. Certainly not something to jump up and down about when you just look at the numbers. However, if you take a little deeper dive into it, you can see that we have grown tremendously as a team. We started this season having to replace some marquee names, kids that are actually playing professional football right now, names like Dante Anderson, Stefan Kennedy, and then some great players, Wesley Ross and Brandon Norris, and the list goes on of players that we had to replace. And guys needed to really find their way on this team because now there are players that have a much larger role on Saturdays than they've had in the past. There are guys who are completely new to the program and have to learn how we do things here at Brevard. There were players switching positions. Heck, we had guys, in fact, you had one of them on your show previously, Montreal Stinson. We have guys switching from complete other side of the ball. So with all of those changes, it's going to take some time. Now, some of this action was able to happen in the spring, but a lot of these players didn't arrive or make these changes until the summer. So until we could really get these games underway and start evaluating the players and putting them in a position to succeed, we really wouldn't know what we had. So is there a need to panic when you see 0-3? No, it's not fun to wear that around. However, there is really no need to panic. With 9 teams in the USA South, 5 of the teams are currently sitting at 0-3 after out-of-conference play. So obviously it's all 0-0 for your record right now starting up next week. And recent history even shows we had one team in the conference since I've been here as the head coach at Brevard that actually started out winless in the out-of-conference play and got beaten pretty badly. You're talking in the high 30s and 40-point differential, and was able to run the table, go 7-0 in the conference and represent the USA South in the playoffs. So, the big things for us that came out of the game against Brevard up in Danville was that I found out that I now have a team that will not quit. They will fight all the way to the bitter end. And really, the score doesn't truly indicate how tight that game was because had we converted a 2-point play following the block punt by Woods that was returned for a touchdown, I mean, well, that's a tight game going in there to the finish. So, and that was just a late interception return for a touchdown that really separated the score. So that was the one thing. And the second thing is that I now know that the players that are remaining on this roster are really what you hear a lot of times in sports about being all in. So now we have guys that believe that we can do this. They're not the guys that are back in the corners saying, oh, we need to do this, or this guy can't do that. So everybody is now in full support of one another, regardless of what side of the ball or special teams or any of that. These guys are all ready to take the task at hand, which is fight for a championship in the USA South.
One more on the Averett game, and you touched on it, Coach. James Woods today was named the USA South Special Teams Player of the Week. It's the second time this season that a Tornado has won that honor, the Special Teams Player of the Week from the USA South. And, as you mentioned, big blocked punt returned for a touchdown, and, a big moment there for James Woods. Love for you to comment on that play, on James Woods and the special teams as a whole.
Yeah, well, first I'd like to, mention Jack Wellenhofer, who has taken over special teams duty in full for Coach Martin Bayless, who, of course, was elevated to general manager. And he's just really done a tremendous job with the special teams unit as a whole. You're talking about the 4 major phases: and punt return, kickoff return, then of course you have field goal block. So that's 6 total units that he's handling. So that's a lot of work. And obviously gets a little bit of help from the staff, but for the most part, he oversees all of that. So that's a lot of people to manage, a lot of personalities, a lot of different styles of play. And just to be able to do that and be successful is pretty remarkable. So, I'm grateful to have him on the staff and handling things the way he does. Now, as far as the performance, they have kept us in a lot of these games. That's how you get the accolades, is because there's some type of performance going on the field. And then for Woods in particular, on that play, that's designed by Coach Wellenhofer, looking deeply at the film and saying, okay, there's a certain weakness that we can attack. And if we do it properly, we're going to be able to change things in our favor. And then after that, it's the execution, what it really comes down to, because without a playmaker on the field, you can draw up all the plays that you want, but ultimately it's the player that has to run the play and execute the plan. And with incredible effort, he went right in there and did everything that he was taught to do and asked to do, rather than going outside of what it is that we would request of the player. So really huge play in the game. And like I said, right there, that huge momentum swing, if we could have just gotten that 2-point conversion, now all of a sudden it's a whole new ball game. But we just got a little deflated after missing that. But congratulations to James. Definitely earned that accolade, and I'm proud of him for his performance.
Yeah, second USA South Special Teams honoree this season. Stamati Damalos did it earlier this year after he made a school record field goal versus shorter 48 yards. So getting it done in all phases of special teams. Well, Coach, looking ahead now, the schedule is an interesting one where there's suddenly an off week before that season opener in the USA South versus Greensboro. Fill us in a bit as far as, the approach with this extra time, the weekend off ahead. Obviously, all roads leading to USA South Conference play in Greensboro.
Right. Well, you manage it differently based on the performance leading into the bye. So you always like to win a game going into the bye, because that way you're flying high for 2 weeks and confidence is really rolling. So it's a different style of management now that we're coming off a loss and having to sit on a record that obviously typically you're not going to be proud to have to say, hey, we're 0-3 at this point. But it couldn't come at a better time for us, really, because we have had some guys, and it's no excuse for, why we haven't gained a victory yet, but we have several players that have been nursing a lot of injuries. And now I know that they're all working with Nicole and her staff in the athletic training and to get back out on the field. But you're talking about guys that are starters and full-time players for our team that aren't out there, from Ernest Smith to Jeff Banning, Mitch Yoder, Cedric Brooks, Andrew Bullard. List goes on and on. I can keep naming guys that just aren't out on the field for us right now. So it gives an excellent opportunity for guys who may have had limited time in the game to now step up and show what they can do. And I could list those names on and on of guys that have stepped into some of those roles. But nonetheless, we do need some of these explosive players back out on the field for us to help us achieve more and more wins as the season progresses. So this week for us, it's really about getting back to fundamentals. So, we want these guys to work their craft at the specific position they play. So regardless of what team you play for, if you play that particular position, there are certain skill sets that you have to be very, very good at in order to succeed. So sometimes those get overlooked when time gets short with practice and meetings, and you're trying to get to the game and like, oh, we just need you to run over there or run over here. And you don't really talk about the fine tuning part. It's more of a generalized message. So this is the opportunity in the season to try to fine tune all of that so that lens focuses in and everything looks completely clear, rather than, oh, that looks like some type of play. No, it looks like the exact play that we wanted. So that's kind of what we do this week. And it's a lot of what we call crossover work. So now our offense will work against our defense. Our defense will work against our offense, rather than a simulated opponent. So we won't really simulate Greensboro, who is our next opponent, that much this week. We'll get into that the following week in full.
Coach, we've talked about it before on the show, but coming up next, the matchup versus Greensboro, homecoming after that, Saturday, October 8th versus Methodist. So 2 straight road games to start, or home games rather, to start the conference play. This after having to be on the road to a couple of pretty decent trips in terms of the time on the bus and all that, all the way to Newport News, Virginia. Then this past weekend up at Danville, Virginia for a night game, which, makes things pretty late as you're coming back. So I'd love to hear from you as far as this idea of getting back home in front of the home crowd. I'm sure the road tested this team a bunch, and they're better for it, but the chance to come home and put on some performance to kick off conference play in front of the home crowd.
And that's really why the schedule was set as such, is to be able to find out where our weaknesses really lie. And it's very difficult for coaches to make this decision, and this goes in any sport really. Do you play some of these lesser opponents and blow them out and get confidence? But then there's a lot of mistakes that are made in there that you can't get away with better teams, and they get overlooked. And, oh, but coach, I know, but I got it done anyway. Yeah, but you can't, because you're not always going to get away with it. So there's that angle that has a lot of good things about it. I mean, there's a lot of good reasons why to do it that way, but there's also some reasons not to. For me this year, I chose to go the other route, which was to play these much more difficult opponents that would then show me, okay, hey, wait a minute, there are some things that we need to address, because I didn't want this whole thing to collapse like a house of cards in 3rd, 4th, 5th week. All of a sudden we're playing with some game on the line and we overlook some things. So that was really the purpose of the schedule. Now the travel, yeah, that definitely was a little rough, especially when you're coming off a loss. But these guys are, like you said, going to be much better now going into conference after being battle tested now for those 3 weeks. So coming home, it's a natural high for these guys. They love their facility. They love their safe space. I mean, this is really where they find their zen, and they've always played their best football. Now, I know the score didn't indicate it against Shorter, but also that's a Division II opponent. But outside of that, when you look at our history at Ives Lamel Family Field, I mean, we play incredible football. And even in the very few losses we've ever had, they've been tight games down to the wire. And so to be in this position to start off the conference, I think it's going to help us significantly to be in front of the crowd, all your families there, your friends, other students that are a part of the BC community, and then, of course, our band. And, I think that these guys will really show you something special, because for the fans that have come, the last thing they saw was Shorter. So they haven't seen anything since us in our first game against a Division II opponent who had been working together all winter, spring, summer, and all we did was get together for a couple of weeks and show up and play a game. So it's going to look a lot different than what everyone saw at the start of September, now that we're rolling into the start of October for that game.
Outstanding. Well, hey, NATO Nation, make your plans Saturday, October the 1st, 2 p.m. kickoff at Islamel Family Field. It's the whiteout game versus Greensboro, USA South Conference opener. The Tornadoes are going to be ready to go for that one. Then the following week, homecoming versus Methodist, 2 p.m. at Islamel Family Field on Saturday, October 8th. Coach, stick with us just a couple moments further. We're going to bring in a couple of your student athletes as Reece Rubio has joined the program along with Jordy Wilkinson. Coach Khayat, I'll hand it back over to you to help introduce these two to NATO Nation.
All right, fantastic. Well, I'm going to start with Reece Rubio. So you need to know his background, and his background is that he played high school football in Texas. So if you follow any football at all and any high school football, you know that already that comes with some significance in the fact that Texas is probably arguably the best high school football in the nation. So I know the Florida guys are going to get mad, the Georgia guys are going to get mad. Yeah, I understand. But honestly, Texas is filled with some incredible high school football. So he comes from an excellent background. From the moment he stepped onto the field with us, he has been one hardworking young man, a Champions Club member, and he will give you everything he has. So even when he first got here and he was working on the scout team, he wreaked havoc on the offense. Why is he always in the backfield? Why is he always making a play? Who's going to block him? So he was fantastic with his effort, and there was no doubt that he was going to have a tremendous impact for us on Saturdays. And sure enough, he lived up to that billing. And he's had to step in for some injured players at times and come in and been remarkable at what he does because, Coach Nelson refers to him as a thumper. So he's just that old school, blue collar, hard hitting linebacker. I mean, that's what he is. I mean, he'd have been famous in the 70s. I mean, he's that kind of linebacker that will hit you hard and hit you nonstop. So, but really proud of what he does off the field as well, with his work in the classroom and, his kind spirit throughout the campus, which is why he's a member of the Champions Club. So that's Reece Rubio for you. All right. Our other member is Jordy Wilkinson, who I know quite well because he is, I guess, under my tutelage since he is playing the tight end position. Now, he came to us from Georgia, playing high school football in Georgia, and originally was in the running back room with Coach Gallen at the time when Coach Gallen was here coaching the running backs. And so he played more of a fullback type role and has since transitioned in the last several years into the tight end position. So I've gotten to work with him on a daily basis. And I'll tell you what, he does everything he can to prepare himself for the season, for each game. And it's nice when you're sitting in the laboratory putting together a game plan, knowing that you have Jordy Wilkinson playing for you, because now you can do so many more things because of his brain power out on the field. You're not going to get any mental errors. And those are the kind of things that will drive a coach crazy. I always explain it to the kids that since they play video games, they plug in a play, and the video game always runs the play that you plug in. The thing never goes in the wrong direction. And you get human error with players when you call plays. Well, you're not going to get that with Jordy. So he may be some type of machine, but another multiple time Champion Club member, great in the classroom, another wonderful person to be around, and really shows enthusiasm every time he's out there on the field. So I think you'll enjoy your conversation with the two of these guys, Phil.
Very good, Coach Khayat. Appreciate you joining the program. Just have to mention, when you were talking about Reece Rubio, the Texas product and linebackers, hard hitting, Zach Thomas comes to mind, another Texas product, that I think harping some memories of Zach Thomas, but high praise indeed for Reece Rubio and Jordy Wilkinson. Coach Khayat, thanks for joining the program. We look forward to seeing you before we know it for that conference opener versus Greensboro, and best of luck this week.
Okay, appreciate it. Thanks so much, Phil.
All right, there he goes, Coach Khayat. And as he helped introduce our two guests, Reece Rubio, the senior linebacker from Beaumont, Texas. Reece, thanks for joining the program.
Hey, thank you for having me on here. Can you hear me pretty good?
Yep, got you loud and clear. And also with us, tight end from Washington, Georgia, Jordy Wilkinson, senior tight end. How you doing, Jordy?
I'm doing pretty good, Phil. How you doing?
Doing great, doing great. Well, Jordy, let's start with you. Senior, as Coach mentioned, and have a big leadership role with this program. I know it's been tough to start the season 0-3. However, you guys have been through a lot. You've learned a lot. You still have all your goals in front of you with the start of conference play. But can you kind of give us a state of the union? Where the team's at right now and what you guys are looking forward to in a couple weeks with getting going versus Greensboro?
Yeah. So I mean, it's never good to start 0-3. I mean, I've never started 0-3 except freshman year here, and I can tell you the difference in this team and that team was the amount of athletes we got on this team. There's no way any other team in our conference can out-athlete us on any level. This team really is special, and we fight to the end no matter what. We definitely learned that Saturday, man. You had guys going crazy from whistle to whistle and never gave up. Just the ball didn't roll in our favor. So I think you're going to see something real special. I think guys are really starting to lock in and understand what we got to do to be successful. And like you said, you never want to start 0-3, but at the end of the day, those 3 games really don't matter. Once we get rolling into these next 7, everything matters, and you got to lay it all on the line for all 7. And I really think we're going to start a huge campaign, especially coming home. We always get our juice back once we get in front of the stands here, and I really think that's going to help us. And I think people are going to be really shocked when they see us against Greensboro next weekend.
Reece, I'd love for you to add to that, in particular, the character of this team, this idea of not giving up and playing to the final whistle. What are the sorts of things you're seeing as far as the heart and soul of this Brevard College Tornado squad and the defense in particular?
Yes, sir. Nobody wants to start off 0-3 like they've been saying, but one thing I know about loss is it builds character and it builds maturity. So I think it's sad, but I feel like maybe it's the best thing for us going in the conference. Things get worse before they get better. I think we just saw the worst, and I think things are about to get really, really good, and it's going to be exciting to see. I love going out and playing with these boys. They always give their all. They're a bunch of hard workers, and everybody's just rooting for everybody, and I love being a part of this team.
And Reece, stick with you for one more here. Can you talk about the defensive side of the ball in particular? What you guys are made of this year, whether it be the linebacker core that you're a part of or the defense as a whole?
I'll talk about the defense as a whole. We just got a bunch of dudes who care. They care about the game. They want to play for each other. Everybody's always pushing each other out there. Everybody roots for each other. When the backups come in, everybody's still cheering. When the starters are in, the backups are cheering. Nobody's hating on anybody or anything. And that's what kind of makes the defense. And I'm just excited to get to Greensboro.
And Jordy, would love to hear from you as far as your side of the ball, this year's offense, also your unit, the tight ends.
So the offense this year, we got a lot of new faces on the offense, and we got some faces coming back. That's going to help us a lot. In my eyes, I think we have the best running game in the conference. To me, there's nobody better than Mitchell Yoder, DJ Taylor, and then you're bringing in Smokey from North Greensville, which has been a huge help. You got Murray, who's coming back. He's awesome. Freddie can bust you up the middle. Then you get to the wide receivers. We got Woods coming back, Jonathan Woods. He's going to be a big part of our offense. You got Jaden O'Leary, part of my tight end room, and that dude is lighting it up. It's been a long time coming for him. I'm really proud of him, and he's really you're going to see him as being an All-American type guy. Dude's been putting up crazy numbers. He's already 4th in the conference. We're still trying to figure out the quarterback position. You got good guys at that position battling it out, trying to figure out who's going to be that number 1 guy. Our O-line is just so dominant, especially Uni and Parker. Having those guys back for a 5th year has been real major for us. And having that leadership role with those guys has been really successful on the offensive line.
Outstanding. Reece, back to you. Coach mentioned, your Texas roots. Would love to hear from you. Like, what's it like to be part of that Texas high school football scene? Friday Night Lights. It's got to be kind of larger than life. You know how that world operates over there. And how did playing ball in Texas help prepare you? For being a college football player.
Oh yeah, I saw and played against a bunch of great athletes over there. Um, I've noticed that the football is kind of different in high school. Where I played at in Southeast Texas, we saw a bunch of wing T teams, and if you don't know what that is, I mean it's just a bunch of running the ball, hard nose, lineman pulling, lead blocking. So that's what I was so used to, and that's what made me who I am today. And then I get here, and most teams are spread and airing it out and stuff. So that was it was kind of difficult to transition to the stopping the pass game too. But I finally did it after my fourth year here, and yeah, I don't know. Texas football is just it's different, and it's exciting, and there's a bunch of fans, and everybody loves it, and it's good to carry that around with you that you've played in Texas.
Jordy, we still got a long way to go in this season, of course, but you and Reece, seniors, you've been here, the whole way with Coach Khayat and several of the other members of the coaching staff. Can you reflect back a little bit on just this total experience of being a member of the Brevard College Tornado football program, and just how special of an opportunity is for the guys who are on the team?
Yeah. So I'm definitely anybody who's been a part of this program over the past couple of years. It's been up and down. We've had our highs and we've had our lows. Um, but coming in this program 2018, Khayat, he preached to us, one day we're gonna have a conference champion. One day we're gonna be there. And more and more as my years have gone by here, I've really grown to believe that plan. And that was another reason me coming back this year. Last year, was supposed to be my senior year. I suffered knee injuries, and I never got to play because I was out for the year. And I remember back in December, I looked at my roommate and I told Jerome Bass, I was like, man, I don't know, man. I just feel like there's something still left in us. I feel like, we can really do this still. And I remember going to Khayat's office. I mean, had a couple of meetings with him. He definitely wanted me to come back, didn't want me to leave. So I remember calling my mom and dad, and I was like, hey, I think I want to come back for another semester and make this thing work. I told Khayat I believed in his plan, and I believed in this team, and that's the main reason I'm back. And I really feel like this is the year we can do it.
Very good. Yeah, and a lot ahead, beginning with that conference opener versus Greensboro. Real quick before we let you guys go, just a couple more quick ones. Jordy, tell us academically what you're up to here at Brevard College.
Yeah, so I've actually finished all my credit hour classes, and I'm currently doing my internship right now. Once I finish my internship, I'll be completely done. So I'll be finished in December. So I'm doing my internship with MC Barbell with Richie, and it's been really cool learning from those guys, and they're helping me grow my personal training business as well. And it's been good to have guys with that much knowledge being able to help me on the business aspect as much as getting on personal level with people, getting to learn my craft and the personal training business. And so that's been real helpful having those guys around me.
Exercise science major Jordy Wilkinson. Reece Rubio, same question for you. Let us know what you got going on in the classroom.
I'm a business major. I'm actually taking my last business class right now, and the rest of my class are just for to get my hours in. I'll be graduating in the spring, and I hope to start my own business one day and get that rolling.
Very good. Well, before we let you go, do you want to give you each the opportunity, any thank yous or shout outs you may have and that you'd like to extend to NATO Nation or beyond? Reece Rubio, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Coach Khayat for letting me be a part of this program. He's treated me nothing but respect since I've been here, and I respect that man. He's one of the greatest men I've ever met. I'd like to thank my dad. He's done so much for me throughout my life. I can't thank him enough, and yeah, he's a special guy. I'd like to thank my stepmom, Alicia Rubio, for she stepped in after my mom passed away when I was young, and I couldn't ask for anybody better. She's a great woman, and I'm extremely lucky. And I like to thank my girlfriend Joanna. She's helped me through a bunch of hard times, and she's always been there by my side. She's never left, and she's just my rock. So, and I'd like to thank the team and the coaching staffs, and I'm excited to get to Greensboro.
Well done, Reece Rubio. Jordy Wilkinson, shout outs, thank yous.
I want to shout out to Big Yak. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be a part of this team, and I want to shout out to all my other coaches as well for helping me get better every week. I want to shout out to my family and my girlfriend Emma. I really appreciate all y'all and everything y'all do for me, keeping me level-headed. Because being a college athlete isn't easy. Everybody here at the school knows that. Your schedule starts to build up, get stressful. Especially if you got things going on that you can't control, can be really big deal. And I want to shout out to Washington Wilkes. I want to shout out to that Georgia football. Y'all been talking about Texas football, but Georgia's better. I'm just gonna put that out there. But yeah, shout out to all them boys in Washington Wilkes, man. Y'all go get y'all a state title.
Very good. Good, healthy debate, as far as, the different high school football powers. Well, Reece Rubio, Jordy Wilkinson, great job on the show this evening. Best of luck this week as you all prepare for the USA South Conference. We'll see you at Islamel Family Field on Saturday, October 1st versus Greensboro. Great job, fellas.
Thank you, Phil.
All right, appreciate it. See y'all.
All right, there they go. And we're going to quickly bring back Scott Douglas into the program as Scott has rejoined the program. And Scott, I know you're looking forward to what's to come here. We're going to talk some men's soccer.
Yeah, can't wait. Looking forward to having this conversation with both Mario and Coach L. Been a while since I've been able to talk to them about everything Tornado.
Very good. Well, with that, we'll invite into the program from the men's soccer coaching staff joining the program now. It's great to have with us Coach L. Dana, the head coach of the Tornadoes. Coach Dana, thanks for joining the show.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having us.
And also with us, making his Tornado Talk debut. I mean, we have been working on getting Coach Mario Pinto on this program for months upon months, but he has been so busy running practices and handling the reserves team. But great to finally have him with us. Coach Mario Pinto, thanks for joining the show.
Thank you guys for having me. And finally, right? Glad to be here today. It's been a really tough couple of weeks with both teams, but glad to be here with you all today.
Well, I am going to hand it over to Scott Douglas, and he's going to, talk football with the two of you over the next few minutes or so. So, Scott, all yours.
Okay, hey. So it's been 3 weeks since we've seen you, Coach L. How is your feelings about the camp going right now compared to when we last spoke to you?
Yeah, no, very excited. We put the kids through a pretty tough schedule, mostly on the road, actually all on the road, and quite frankly, top 25 level of schedule, and they've responded very well. I've heard from the football athletes, it's tough to lose games, but it makes you better, and we're already catching the upper wave because we've already won 3 straight since. Now we're very excited.
And Mario, what's it been like for you? This is your second year being involved with them. A lot of, as Coach L mentioned last time, a lot of returners, but also a lot of fresh blood. So how's that been for you?
Yeah, it's been great. It's been, like Coach L said, it's been a tough beginning of season as we got a couple of tough games, but it's good for them to get those minutes, to learn with the mistakes and come up better. Over the last couple of games, we've been some definitely a lot of development on the boys that already were in the team, and even for the kids that come out from the bench, that they step in and keep up the level. So that's the best that we could ask for. So really, really happy to see that and looking forward for over the next couple of games.
You've both spoken about the rough start. And Coach O, I don't know if you remember my freshman year, we kind of started out the same way. We started with three. Once the regular season came along, we had 3 defeats in a row, and then we had 2 draws, and then all the wins started coming. And as you touched on, you got the 3 defeats, but now you've got the free win. So how do you look to follow up on that?
Yeah, the biggest thing is there's no way we would have found what we already have without playing the tough games, So lots of times you masquerade things that will only show up in conference, and you don't want that. So we've already found out a lot about our formation. That has been really, really important. Now we know what works for this team, because it's always a matter of, it's not us imposing that on them. It's just whichever one makes them showcase their strength and, hide a little bit of whatever weakness. So that we found out, we found out what works best in terms of position for certain players. And we found out about character. You can't measure any other way. So, and moving forward, it's not going to get that much easier at all. This is a tough conference, but nothing coming ahead will make him just be overly overwhelmed. So that's the biggest point. These kids are ready for whatever comes.
And that's with the first team. Now, Mario, I feel like I definitely have to ask you this question. Last week, Thursday, you got the win with the reserve team. And how did that feel for you?
Well, it was a great feeling. We got our first win away from home. The boys definitely deserved it. It's we have a big class of freshmen, so we're starting to give them minutes, and we're starting to introduce them. So what I always tell the boys on the first team, we don't have first team and second. We have only one team that we need to develop everyone, so everyone can be ready to step in either for the first team or for the reserves. So I'm really happy, really glad with the development from the freshmen, from the returners, from all the players that have been with us for last year, and introduce some new tactics, some variations. It's been really good, and it's been awesome to see them actually develop and use that in the game. So we had our first game against Mars Hill. Was a tough loss. We knew we could do better, and on the second game, we definitely stepped up the level and got that win. And I'm really looking forward for Thursday for our first home game, right?
Yeah. And as you mentioned, the first home game, Coach O, this is going to be the first home game for the first team. This coming up this week, if I'm not mistaken. Wednesday at 5 p.m. at Isomel Family Field. And how does that feel for you? Because the last game you played at home was an exhibition, and it was in August. So how are you feeling now?
Every team can say pretty much the same, that nothing matches home. It's where you practice every day, but there's something extra for us because it's just the atmosphere. This is such a closed, tight campus that everybody supports everybody, and we can't wait. We're so excited. There's been quite a few people keeping up with us, and even people that came and watched us on the road. But everybody's saying the same. I can't wait for you to be at home. So it feels like it almost feels like the season starts now. But I love playing at home. This is a great stadium, great atmosphere when we play at home.
And finally, as Mario, you mentioned about how young the reserve team is right now, and that's really exciting to see that they're gelling together. Because going forward, I know that there's hopes to be able to implement them in the first team because it's all one big team. So from both of you, how does that feel to see the reserve team working so hard, and how do you feel like the reserve team working hard impacts the people in the first team?
Well, on my point of view, what I always tell the players, we're not preparing them to win games on the reserves. We're preparing them to be ready to play on the first team. So we use the same formations, we use basically the same drills so they can develop. We have more time to talk with them. We have more time to show them what do they have to do to be able to step up on the first team game and be ready for that transition, and makes it easier, because sometimes we have a big gap from the high school game to the college game. So what we're trying is to minimize that transition and make them feel comfortable playing college at the college level with more physical, physical game and all that. And again, we're really happy to see how they've developed. And actually, we have a big class of seniors, that are going to be graduating in December. So really looking forward to develop them and be ready to receive them, on the first team as well.
Very good. Coach Dana and Coach Mario Pinto. Scott, great work once again as well. Tornadoes men's soccer on Wednesday versus Berea at Islamel Family Field, 5 o'clock. That's the home opener for the Tornadoes, folks. Make sure you get on out there. An outstanding brand of soccer. And then on Thursday, the reserves team at 7 p.m. at Islamel Family Field will take on Milligan. Coaches, stick around with us just a couple more minutes here. We're going to bring in a couple of your top student athletes into the program. Ryan Lynch and Igor Da Silva have joined the show. Coach Dana, we'll start with you. Can you help introduce Ryan and Igor to NATO Nation?
Sure. I mean, 2 of the top players in the team, but definitely 2 of the top players in the conference. Fresh from the release that Ryan made the Player of the Week in the conference. Deservedly so. This is a player that every day that I get to the office in the morning, I see him with a bag of balls, so he works hard for it. Spent the whole summer playing, and it shows, he is at a new level and definitely ready to basically be a go-to man. But Igor is somebody also spent the whole summer here and worked very hard, both fitness-wise and getting touches. And 2 leaders, I mean, you don't see them hiding from the competition. You don't see them shying away from the tough games, and they want the ball. And these guys will take you places.
Coach Mario, love to hear your comments on these 2. You've seen them for 2 seasons now. 2 of the top Tornadoes, no doubt.
Yes, definitely. We've been in touch every day, so we always try to advise them to, to try to anticipate what they're gonna find in the game. So I'm really happy to see Igor and Ryan standing out since the beginning of the season. So we definitely need that for the team, and especially to motivate the other players as well. Really happy that they have this impact right away on the team, and looking forward.
All right, very good. Coach Dana, Coach Mario Pinto, thanks a lot for joining the program this evening. Can't wait to see you guys in action at Islamel Family Field.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Very good. And there they go. And Scott, I'm going to turn it over to you because I know both these gentlemen very well, teammates with them. Also, you've called some of their games as well. Scott, all yours.
Yes, I actually want to start off by asking you guys to elaborate a little bit on what Coach L said. I know I've spoken to you both about it little bits, but what did you guys get up to over the summer? I know you both were staying fit. We'll start with you, Lynch.
All right. Yeah, I was actually playing for a semi-pro team in Richmond, Virginia over the summer, and it was a great experience to kind of play with guys who, really play at that level. Some former professional players and some really, really top level players. So it was really good just to kind of see their level and what they bring every single day to training and to the games and their intensity. So.
And Igor?
Well, over the summer, I've been in my country visiting my family in Brazil. And once I came back to Brevard, and the next day I start practicing, I start hitting the field, getting some balls, getting some runs, because I knew that season provides a lot of stuff for us.
I always remember when I first came to Brevard, there was a lot of talk about how being fit up here just takes a little bit more work. And you guys have obviously been putting, which is really showing in your performances. So to step out of the performances for just a moment, you both are juniors, correct? And how has it been your first 2 years and going into your third year?
Yeah, I think it's been it's been a process. Kind of for me, it's just kind of building on, building upon each year, as a person, a player, a student, just trying to get better each year.
For me, it's basically the same. Since I came here to Brevard, even like we have a lot of Brazilians here, sometimes it's hard to be speaking English all the time. And Lynch knows how that feels. Like we, the first 2 years, we just speak basically Portuguese on the field, and this year we choose to change, like to try to speak more English, because I can feel like if one of you guys go to Brazil and speak English over there, nobody will understand you guys. So if we came here, we play soccer. We do not play like how we call football anymore. So this year is much better than the last 2 years that I've been here. I'm so glad to be here again.
And Lynch, you spoke about how being able to play over the summer in a semi-pro team brought that kind of intensity, so you knew kind of what to expect. And then this week you got Player of the Week, so huge congratulations with that. This season you've also got 3 goals and 1 assist. So how has the season been so far for you, and where are you looking to go next in your own performance?
I think it's just kind of, keep my head down, stay focused, just keep building upon each performance, taking the good aspects of the game and taking the bad as well, and just trying to improve on that, especially before conference play, because that's, when it really, really matters. So.
And Igor, I spoke to Lynch about, as you heard, about his goals and assists. And you, as a defender, have 2 goals and 2 assists. And what's that been like for you? Kind of like John Terry-esque?
Yeah, almost there. So I would say that's kind of easy when we got guys playing around that are really good. Like Lynch was a Player of the Week. For example, I gave him an assist against Bob Jones that I've seen he did this movement for the whole season. I was like, no, one day I found the ball to him and I found it. So I would say that's easy to play when we got a lot of bodies around of us that can play in the same level as us.
And we're going to be back at home in 2 days. On Wednesday, you'll be back playing at Azamel Family Field. And what's your excitement levels on that?
Yeah, I think we're all really excited, especially after, being on the road for so long. It's really good to have a home game because, it's not the same, playing 7 hours away when you've been on a bus or, you've had to stay in a hotel or whatever. So I think it's going to be better in that sense where, you get to walk over to the field house before the game instead of getting off a bus. So, but I think we're excited to play in front of the fans and kind of show them what we've been working on for the past couple months or so.
And Igor?
For me, is the same feeling. Playing away is good, but nothing is better as playing home. Like we practice here every day. We know how it feels to play here in Brevard. We know how the weather is, and like nobody knows better the field than us.
Now, to step away from our own performances, so as viewers may know, I'm English, Lynch, you're American, and Igor, you're Brazilian. The World Cup is in a few months, and the soccer's about to take an international break. So how are you both feeling with your home countries going into the World Cup?
I think we might surprise a few people. I think the U.S. has a talented squad this year, still young, but very, very talented coming into the World Cup. And I think a lot of people underestimate, what we can do and what we've been doing with our players on the European club level. So I think we'll surprise people.
Yeah. For me, who has more has 5 then? Who's Brazil? And if we won another one game, it will be 6. Then it will be harder for you guys to be keeping following us. And I do think that this year we can win the World Cup. We'll see some Brazilian. That's one of the best things that I've seen playing. And also is the Neymar's last World Cup. So I think he deserves one, right?
And finally, to wrap up, is there any shout outs you guys want to give to coaches, teammates, family, anybody?
Yeah, I just want to give a thank you to, my teammates. Igor here I think he was unlucky to miss out on Player of the Week. I felt like he easily deserved it just as much. But no, all of my teammates, we've just these past few games we've kind of meshed together a little bit better, and we've been complementing each other's strengths and really playing for each other. So.
And Igor?
For me, I just like to thank everyone, all the teammates that I have, because if we are winning the last 3 games, it's because even players that are not playing those 3 games, they are pushing hard on the practice. That's why we are pushing hard on the games, because they are pushing hard on us at practice. So I'd like to thank you everyone, all the coach staff, and that's it.
Very good. Igor da Silva and Ryan Lynch. Igor, junior defender from Americana, Brazil, and Ryan Lynch, the junior forward from Charlotte, North Carolina. Tornadoes on a 3-game win streak and big home opener this week on Wednesday. Finally, we get to see you guys here at Isla Mel Family Field this season. Looking forward to that one and hopefully a big crowd out here. And just one final note, as I was listening to y'all's conversation, I want to hang out with you guys for some of these World Cup games. I mean, we could get some serious watch parties going in the men's soccer locker room, I can imagine, with all sorts of bragging rights at stake. So looking forward to World Cup Brevard style a little bit later this year. Scott, great job once again. And Igor and Ryan, thanks for joining the program.
Thank you.
All right, there they go. Well, Scott, we covered a lot of ground on this edition of Tornado Talk. Before we kind of wrap things up, final thoughts on the men's soccer side.
Yeah, it's been so good to see them finally get on some good form. As Coach House spoke about, they needed those 3 defeats so that they can figure out where they need to fix what's broken. So I'm really glad that they're finally on good form, 3 straight wins, and now they're going to come back home, and hopefully that's where we get to see the performance in front of our eyes. And I hope that they continue this good form.
Yeah, hope folks can come on out this week and check out the Tornadoes men's soccer team. I want to thank our guests from men's soccer, from women's soccer, from the football team as well. I want to thank you, Scott Douglas. Great job, jumping in here to help co-host the show, and hope to see plenty more of you on future Tornado Talks as well. And want to thank also behind the scenes Lindsay Wyke and our producer Joseph Marvin, really pushing all the buttons behind the scenes. And thank you, NATO Nation. Got a lot of great participation on tonight's show from those who chimed in on those comments as well. Well, we look forward to seeing you at a future Brevard College Tornado event. Be sure to follow the Tornadoes on Twitter and Instagram or on Facebook. And if you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe and hit that little bell to receive all the notifications of when the Tornadoes are live. For Scott Douglas, I'm Phil DeMontmullin.